on so it doesn't look like children's brick blocks. Come along with me to transfer my builder grade fireplace into something beautiful using this faux brick paneling. This is what we're working with. So people are looking at me like I'm insane. So here are these gigantic pieces of faux brick paneling or whatever, and they think I'm going to try to get it in my car. My husband's going to come get it for me in his Julie. Should be here any second, hopefully. Luckily, it's a beautiful day here in Texas. So I'm sitting here thinking about how I'm going to do this fireplace as I'm staring at it. I'm wondering if I'm going to do a real beam, like a 6x6 piece of wood, and like distress it like I do everything else, or if I should do just a faux beam, like put a piece of wood on the wall and then make a beam and put it around it. I think it'd be easier to mount to the wall if I did a faux beam versus a regular piece of wood, and it's going to be a lot lighter. I don't know. What do you think? And then there's the order in which I do things. Do I put the faux brick on the wall and attach that and then attach the beam after it? Or do I put the beam up and then cut the faux brick around the beam? All right, so this was back in November of 2020, and this was my first demo job, and I was very terrified. My biggest concern was taking all this apart and messing something up and then not knowing how to fix it. We're now in 2025, and I have a lot of DIYs under my belt, so I'm hardly scared of anything anymore, at least when it comes to home remodels. We are in a DR Horton home here, and this whole fireplace was MDF and tile. So here's where I'm at. I don't know how I'm going to get this tile off. I need more than just a hammer and a screwdriver. I've already broken off some of this, I think this is the concrete panels. I'm not really sure, but anybody have any suggestions? I'm going to have to take it off because it sits about an inch away from the wall, and for that brick paneling to lay flat, what did I get myself into? That clip actually made me laugh when I watched this back because that is not cement board. It's just drywall. I assumed it was cement board because that's what's supposed to be around a fireplace like this, or at least that's what I've seen in other people's remodels. There's usually cement board because it's fire safe. It just looks different because it's gray, and I was expecting it a different look, I guess. I'm not really sure. But I was trying to get all that tile off without breaking it, so I didn't have to replace it, but that didn't work. Obviously, as you can see, it was just all breaking off. This is where I'm at right now. As I'm banging this to get it off, the cement board is not doing good. So I've never worked with the cement board before, so I'm going to try to get the tile off and then measure how much I need, so that way I can run to Home Depot and get a new one to put along there. So I'm not too worried about dealing with it. From what I've seen, when you get a new one, you just score it and it snaps. So wish me luck. I'm going to take the rest of this tile off real quick. I ended up just taking all of the drywall off with the tile, and it was so much easier than trying to save that drywall, or cement board as I thought it was at the time. And you definitely need a shop vac whenever you're doing a project or a demo like this because it gets messy. Okay, one thing I did not consider, I put all this in the box just to put it in there. I should have dumped it out little by little because now this box is so heavy. I way underestimated the weight of the tile. Didn't even cross my mind until I tried to move it. And I think the bottom will fall of the box before it would hold any of this. So maybe I'll try to scoot it outside on a blanket so I don't mess up my floors. Also, have you ever wondered what's behind a fireplace? Never thought about it, honestly. And now I'm like, oh, whoa. I thought it was like, I guess a bigger area that goes up there, but I guess it's not. It's cool, you learn things along the way. So this piece of MDF that was already on there from my old fireplace is on there really good. And I'm gonna need a piece anyways of wood on here for the faux beam that I'm gonna build. So I'm just gonna leave that on there and use it and add on because I want my beam thicker. Probably about that thick. I don't know, maybe even thicker if I can. We'll see. But yeah, that'll be what I attach it to. So I did end up putting that on a blanket. First, I cleaned up all the dust and debris so that way that debris didn't scratch the floors as I dragged the box out of my living room. I just scooted it into the garage for my husband to help me take care of when he got home. And then I used a small trash can to pick up the rest of that debris, using a dustpan and then the shop vac to get all that smaller pieces up. Time to take measurements for the cement boards and then the mantle. Because I don't have wood for the mantle. I have a bunch of wood outside, but I think I'm gonna get bigger, lighter wood. So I think I'm gonna do it either 6 or 8 inches wide, and I'm not going to miter the edges this time. I'm just going to butt it up because you'll only be able to see that edge on the bottom and the top. So the front will still look like it's a beam. I think that's a good plan. Should I miter it? So I just got back. I already scored and cut the first piece of the cement board, and I installed it, and I'll show you how easy this stuff is to work with. Okay, so I've already marked where I need to cut, and you just take a razor and you score it real good. Then you just kick it. And there you go. Isn't that cool? Then you gotta score it again on this side. All right, so I've got the top piece up, the bottom piece, and then I just gotta do the sides, and I can start putting the brick on. You also have to have special concrete board nails, or screws, I mean. Well, that part wasn't too bad. I think I'm gonna do the hearth before I start the brick. And why not? I got the bottom of the frame built for the hearth. I think it's hearth. I've been told it's called a hearth, whatever. And there's what Mia wrote, if you can read that. All right, got the top of the hearth put together. Now to take it inside and attach it to the rest of the frame. All right, that was just 2x4s that I put together with my favorite star head screws, and I'll share that in the description of this video. 2x4s are a little bit heavy, so I'm knocking things over here. And of course I'm me, so I did not clear out the living room before doing all of this. I did to just work around the mess. And of course I had to test out my work. Here's where I left off last night. I put a piece of plywood, actually it's 2 thin pieces of the hardboard on top, so that way when I put the brick on, it won't bow where there isn't a slat running across, so that way we can stand on it. I'm going to start working on the beam now. I think that'll be pretty simple. Just got to put it all together, so wish me luck. Okay, so for the beam, I've got this side mitered on this one. This one's flat. This one's flat, and then this was mitered, and these are both mitered because this is the front-facing beam, and one of these are going to be the top and bottoms. I also have them mitered on the ends because I'm going to put a end piece on them, and I want that to sit flush as well. All right, the most exhausting part is done. Using the wire brush to go over the surface of all of this. You see what it does? It scratches it all up. Makes it look older. Now I'll just sand and put it all together. Do you ever look for something and you can't find it? Like you're looking everywhere and it's right in front of your face? I've been looking for my sander for like the past 5 minutes. It's right there. It's like when you're looking for your pencil and it's behind your ear, or you're looking for your phone and you're holding it. So I was totally going to make sure all these were the same length because I literally bought the 6-foot pieces from Home Depot and just miter the ends without checking. I was going to check and I forgot, and now I'm going to have to fix that. But it's fine. Easy fix. Okay, I'm putting this together inside because my air compressor's over there, so it's too heavy to be taken in and out. So I'm going to put this together in here and then take it back outside to stain it. Whew, I'll tell you what, that was not the easiest thing to get together by myself. I had to prop one end up on this box and the other end against the couch, and it kept on falling and the nails kept on coming out. But it's done. Now I just got to put the end pieces on and glue this knot back on that fell off because that'll create a gap. And then I can sand it, and not sand it, but wood fill the edges. I might do that when it's up on top, but I'm going to stain it first and then wood fill the edges up there and then go back over it with stain. Also, the way I put this together, I shot nails in it. So I shot nails in going this way, and then I shot more nails going that way. So that way it kind of creates a clamp, like it should not come apart. Okay, so I mitered this and this side, and this side's flat, just like the ends of this are flat. And then it'll go together just like that. And I'll nail it together, and then you get it? Looks like a beam. Okay, I got this beam stained, and I'm gonna go hang up the support for it real quick and then eat some lunch while that dries, and then I'm gonna hang it up. Reinforced this one with some just in case, because I don't know how it was on there, if it was just glued or just nails, and I don't want this thing falling off, so I'm gonna reinforce that top piece too. Okay, since I'm gonna be doing this on my own, I went ahead and put the screws in here so that way I can do it one-handed, hopefully. Wish me luck. Now, since I've made this mantle, I've actually seen people make these a little bit easier where you lay the wood out and then you tape the outside of it and then you put it together with support pieces in the middle. This probably doesn't make sense unless you've seen it, but there are easier ways to build mantles like this. So I've seen this tip before, but somebody just messaged me and reminded me of it. So I already sanded this kind of rounded, but what you're supposed to do, go over it with a screwdriver like this. And it kind of bends that seam in so it's not as apparent. I'm still going to need wood filler, but maybe not as much doing this. Okay, so now for the intimidating part. And pretty much the last part aside from German smearing the brick. Adding the brick. I'm really nervous about it because it's like plywood and I'm not really good at cutting like big pieces by myself like that. I'm going to probably have to use a skill saw and my skills are not very good with a skill saw. So wish me luck in cutting a straight line. Okay, I got my lines drawn on. I don't know if you can see them with Sharpie. That's where the mantle goes, if you can see that. I know it's hard to see. And then there's the angle in the wall. I hope my calculations are correct. Bunch of chicken scratch over here. Does that make any sense to you? Probably not. It barely makes sense to me. All right, do as I say, not as I did here. As I said before, my skills were not where they should have been with this skill saw. As you can see, my mistake here was not putting the blade up, and I didn't know how to do that at the time. The blade should only stick out like barely past your material, because if it's sticking out too much, you can risk cutting yourself, and you can risk it jumping back at you like it did here a few times for me. But you live and make mistakes, and then you learn. The way I measured in my head, I didn't go by the angle of the ceiling or anything like that. I just measured from the left wall to the ceiling right there, and then I measured over to see how wide that piece of brick paneling was, and then I measured from the floor or the hearth to the ceiling on that part. And that probably makes no sense to you, but it makes complete sense in my head, and it worked out. As you can see here, I did eventually figure out how to get this big piece of brick paneling up by myself. I am 4'11", and that was not an easy task. It's actually never easy moving big pieces of material like that, but I did buy a clamp so that way I can move my 3/4 of an inch plywood by myself pretty easily. I'll link that in the description too if you're short like me. It's only half the brick is only up, and it is so pretty. Oh my god, I can't believe this is coming to life. I got the second piece up. It wasn't lining up earlier, so I had to take it down and trim the top and then trim the bottom right here for it to go down a little bit. And now it's lining up. It's still not perfect, but it's lining up better. And I think with the German smear on there, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Now to do the rest. Well, I'm really glad that my mother-in-law came home for lunch. Well, dinner, lunch, or whatever. She works at Walmart. Anyways, she's like, what about the gas line? I'm like, oh, crap. I knew the gas line was there, and I totally was going to cut around it, and I forgot. So I just brought in my jigsaw and cut a little hole right there for the gas line so we can actually start the fire. My husband would have been so pissed. I just love that part of the project where it all starts coming together. Well, I'm done with installing it. I've still got to do the German smear and everything, but right now I've got to clean this mess up. Okay. I had to screw this on because my nail gun was going straight through it. I'm hoping that I can put enough German smear on to hide the screws and put enough on so it doesn't look like children's brick blocks. You know those kids' brick blocks that you can buy for your kids to play with? That's kind of what this part looks like right now. But trust me, it's going to look awesome.
It's okay. You know what? I bet I tapped it out when I rented this car.
What are you doing?
How much you got?
Are you comfy?
$60. You have $60.
So I'm sitting here drinking my coffee, staring at my new mantle. You know what this means? Now I'm going to have to go buy new stuff to put on the mantle. Okay, so this is where I left off yesterday. I got all the brick put on, the mantle's on. I put some, this isn't staying this color, don't worry, wood filler on here, and then I'll sand it and then stain that. The night before I had added that wood filler, and here I am just using my orbital sander, and I sanded it down. Again, don't do as I did, wear a mask if you're gonna sand like this. And then I got it stained. The stain color is Early American, and I've used it on a lot of my pieces, and I really like it. It has a really pretty rich tone. Side note, I love the smell of stain because it reminds me of my great grandma who used to reupholster furniture and stuff, and she was the best at it. Also, this ladder is amazing. If you don't have a telescope ladder, you really need one. It stores really small and you can use it for just about anything. They have them up to like 12 foot. I'll link that in the description as well. We have like 3 of these things. Okay, so I put a little bit of the joint compound on, and I'm gonna let it sit a little while to make sure it's gonna dry white, because right now it's gray. I don't want to cover the whole wall in it if it's gonna not dry white. That way I can go get something else. This is what I'm using. Does anybody know if this will dry completely white or it's still gonna have a gray tint? Okay, let's get up here and examine a little bit. It is drying whiter, so that's a good sign. I got worried there for a second. I guess I can go ahead and finish because that is looking a lot better. What do you think? Is that white enough compared to my paint? This was my first time working with joint compound, and yes, it does dry white. You'll see in a little bit. I've even used joint compound to skim coat our office. We turned our office into a man cave for my husband because he works on bicycles for a side hustle, and I wanted that room to reflect more of his personality. I added the Tricorn Black by Sherwin-Williams paint color to the joint compound, so it ended up being like a dark gray color. It turned out pretty cool. I've got that video available on my channel. Okay, so once this is dried a little bit more, I'm gonna go over some of the bricks randomly and with a wet rag or paper towel, and that way some of the red will show through more than what it's doing now. So you see right here, here, and here, I went over it with a wet rag to make sure it would work already, so that way some more of that red shows through. Tell me, doesn't this look better? Not like children's builder blocks anymore? I know this is looking pretty scary right about now, but this is a trust the process kind of project. Traditional German smear is typically done with mortar, I believe, but joint compound is a lot easier to work with, especially when you're wiping part of it off like I'm doing here. But if I did this project again, I would seal it. I did not seal it here, and a few years later here in Texas, we got an ice storm that had us losing power for several days, so we had the fire on for a long time, and soot got on the joint compound. The fireplace was all cleared out so I could take a good picture, but... everything's still everywhere. I just push all that stuff aside. So yeah, today I'm working on cleaning all this up, and I've got some things to build outside. Now, here's the reveal of what it looks like, but forgive me because I was super new to content creation at the time, and this video is terrible. But I was super proud of it when I first did it. We've all got to start somewhere, right? The video quality was pretty terrible because I had an old iPhone, and then the lights were off, and I knew that for interior design, you don't want the lights on because it creates weird shadows, but look at this transition. I think it was pretty good. Now, here's some better quality content for you. This is what it looked like before when we first moved in. I've actually done a lot to this living room. I built that TV stand, I put that bookcase you saw in, and then the fireplace. I built some coffee tables and even framed out the windows right there. I feel like it's a requirement in interior design to have all your windows framed.